Hi everybody, Bill here for the Super Review Show. On Monday, February 21st, 2022, after 25 years on the air, the TV show Arthur aired its final episodes. So, today I just thought I'd take some time to reflect on the show a little bit and talk about the impact it's had on my childhood, because I grew up reading the books by Mark Brown, and I grew up on the TV show. As I said, it first aired in 1997, and it went for 25 seasons. It is the longest running animated show for children, and in the United States, it is the second longest running animated show, behind only The Simpsons. So, what can I say about this show? This show, like I said, had a really big impact on me and on my childhood. I watched the show every day when I was a kid, when I got home from school. For those of you who don't know, Arthur tells, based on the book series by Mark Brown, it's a story of a aardvark named, Arthur and his friends, a rabbit named Buster, who's his best friend, I don't know what animals they are, Muffy and Francine, and the Brain. God, I wish I really knew what animals they were. And Arthur lives with his mom, dad, his sisters, DW, and Kate. This was a show that, now I know what you're all thinking, it's just a dumb little kid's show, can't have that much of an impact. Well, it did. I used to watch this show, like I said, every day when I was a kid, and then I grew up, stopped watching it. But you want to know something? Sometimes with media, something that you appreciated when you were a kid, you can go back to it as an adult and maybe find things you love now that you didn't love back then. Like, for instance, when I was a kid, I just looked at it as a fun TV show with talking animals, but looking back at it now, this was a show that, one of the things that I really look back at it now very fondly is that this was a show that touched upon issues that other kid shows at the time wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. This was the era of PBS when shows like Barney and Friends and Teletubbies were popular, and it was all, bright colors, bouncy songs, and baby talk that made you want to beat your head on something. But anyway, this was a show that tackled serious issues. Like, they talked about dyslexia. They talked about autism. They talked about divorce. They talked about cancer. They talked about Alzheimer's. They talked about death. They talked about 9/11 type trauma. And all those episodes, like, I'll explain a few. Like, one of my favorite episodes is called Bitsy's Bow. It's about Arthur's best friend Buster, who is living whose parents are divorced, and his mom starts dating again. She has a new boyfriend who Buster turns out to like. But in the beginning, you could tell he's very scared. And you know what? I think that's very relatable. To children of divorced parents who start dating again. That's very relatable. Other things in this show, other episodes were an episode called The Great McGrady, which is the kids' lunch lady, Mrs. McGrady, gets cancer. And the episode was unfortunately banned because Lance Armstrong guest starred in all the crap that happened with that. But it really shows what happens when someone has cancer, and it shows how different people react. But I think one episode that I will always remember, and this is probably my favorite episode, it's called April 9th, and it's an allegory for the 9/11 attacks. Arthur and his friends' school gets burned by a fire. And you see the different perspectives of everybody there. Like, Arthur's father was in the building because he's a caterer, and he was making breakfast for the teachers there. And he was in the building when the fire went off. And you can see how Arthur is scared. Arthur's friend Sue Ellen, who lost a diary that was burned up in the flames. That could be an allegory for losing someone. Binky is sort of traumatized by the whole thing, but he tries to hide it. And also Buster, who fell asleep and can't really relate. And there's this one scene when Buster's given an exaggerated version of what happened, and Arthur snaps at him. Now, when I was a kid, I'm looking like, no, Arthur was 100% in the right. Buster shouldn't have been talking like that when Arthur's father could have died in the fire. So yeah, I'm thinking, when I was a kid, I'm thinking, Buster's an asshole. Arthur was 100% in the right. And now look back at it now. Yes, Arthur was still technically in the right, but Buster's not an asshole. He's just trying to relate to what everybody feels. And he starts connecting with the janitor, Mr. Morris, who was injured during the fire. And they start bonding. And that perspective is very nice. And you know what I think is... And also, they also talked about they also did episodes when Arthur's grandfather ends up getting Alzheimer's. Like, Alzheimer's is never mentioned, but he starts forgetting things. And there is a scene in that episode which is absolutely heartbreaking when Arthur's grandfather forgets Arthur's name. And even though they don't make it too dark, it's sad when he forgets his name. And, there are a lot of... And also, aside from the show, they were making shorts explaining COVID to kids. Explaining even things as complex as racism after what happened to George Floyd. The thing is, why this show, I think, did so well is because something that I always say about kid shows, when they tackle serious topics, they either water things down or they make it too graphic. Now, there is a difference between dumbing things down and making things relatable. Dumbing things down is basically taking all the tough parts out, so the kids are never going to know what really happened. While making things relatable is explaining things to kids on a level where they understand. And I think this show did it perfectly. It did it absolutely perfectly. And aside from the serious thing, a lot of the fun episodes, the musical episode, which still has one of the library card song, which is one of the catchiest things ever. A lot of the, like another one of my favorite episodes called "The Short Quick Summer," when Arthur thinks he wasted his whole summer when he actually didn't. And I could just go on and on. And how they developed a lot of the characters. Like, two I can come in is Binky, who first is portrayed as like the bully, but turns out he's a talented musician. He's talented at ballet dancing, and he's actually using that whole bully thing as a front. Or their teacher, Mr. Ratburn, who, when you first meet him, he's just the mean teacher. But as time goes on, you can see the development in him. That he is, that he likes to. One of my favorite episodes with him in it is called "The Rat Who Came to Dinner," which after a blizzard, Mr. Ratburn's roof caves in. So he stays with Arthur and his family, his parents and his sisters DW and Kate. And Arthur is, of course, scared because, I think anybody would be nervous when their teachers stay with them, and he's trying to pull off this front that he's super smart. But it turns out that Mr. Ratburn is just a normal guy. He likes cartoons. He likes magic tricks. And they give him more of a character than just the strict teacher. And, of course, we cannot end that discussion without talking about the controversial episode, Mr. Ratburn, the Special Someone, when Mr. Ratburn, it turns out that he's gay. In the episode, turned out the kids hear that he's getting married, and they think he's marrying this woman rat who turns out to be very tough. But it turns out the woman rat is his sister, and he's actually marrying another male rat. And this episode actually got banned from Alabama's public television. But you know what? How they handled that, I think, was very well. The word gay or homosexual was not even mentioned. My only gripe in that episode is I wish they kind of would have explained that, some men like women, some women like men, some men like men, and some women like women. I wish they would have went that route and trying to explain being gay. But, you know what, I think they could only do so much, and what they did I think was good. And the last episode was Arthur and his friends playing this game that would decide their future. And then it flash forwards to years later when they're all grown up. Buster's a teacher, Muffy's running for mayor, Francine's her campaign manager, their friend George runs their hangout spot at the Sugar Bowl, and Arthur writes a graphic novel. And the graphic novel is of Arthur's Eyes, which was the very first episode of the series. And what I think is very interesting is in the flash forward in the end, the adult version of Arthur is voiced by Michael Vanish, I think his name was, who was the original voice actor of Arthur. He voiced him for a few seasons, and then I guess his voice changed, and he couldn't do it anymore. But I think that was a very nice touch. So, my thoughts is, it is kind of sad to see the show end, but I think it's always going to leave memories. And I'm always going to remember the show. And I think maybe nowadays, a lot of people my age who are now having children of their own are going to be showing their kids Arthur. And it's an end of an era. But you know what? It had its run. And it impacted a lot of people and their childhoods, including myself. And I'm always going to remember the show. I'm always going to remember the books. And I'm always going to remember the fond memories. So, I'd like to say to Mark Brown, to PBS, thank you. Thank you for giving me hours of memories as a kid. And I will always look back on them very fondly. Alright, guys, I'm sorry this was sort of all over the place. I didn't really script this. I just went right off the top of my head. If you like what you see more, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Thanks, guys. Take care.